Yeah! Hello and welcome to this Warno 2v2 game played on Death Row between Bobass playing 7th Panzergren, or 7th Panzer Division, my bad, East Germany, and Layak 73 playing 76Y VDV, the Soviets, and they're going up against Noel playing 4th Dutch, and Dabilla playing 9th US. So, Death Row, basically the most narrow map in the game, typically seen as a narrow 1v1 map. The game describes it as a 2v2 map, so that's interesting, isn't it? Can be played as a 2v2 map, generally not recommended, but it really takes the thinking out of it. You just go forwards and then you go backwards, so you go forwards and then you go backwards, particularly on a 2v2. And I don't see a whole lot of thinking going on here, so in terms of the matchup, typically you want one light div, one heavy div. So 4th Dutch, 9th American can work, but typically on this map you'll oh wait, I'm supposed to do the deck reviews, aren't I? Right, so this is the deck review for Noel and Dabilla, and they're playing 4th Dutch and 9th US respectively. As is always the case for 2v2s, you need to... First of all, the map is important. There's no ranked 2v2 mode, so you know what the map is going in, and you should adapt your deck to the map. And you should adapt your deck to your teammate as well. So it's different to 1v1 in that regard, and it can lead to some different compositions. In terms of the picks, 9th US and 4th Dutch on Death Row. Typically, leopards are all right as far as heavy tanks go. It's just you don't get too many of them on this div. You get a lot. Generally, you'd want something like an Abrams because it's got more armor. It's more expensive. It's less mobile, I think. How fast are these Leopard 2A4s these days? 70. So it's slightly slower because the M1A1 is like 65 or something. Yeah. So it's less mobile, but it's got more armor and whatnot, and that makes it better in these kind of slugging matches. But 4th Dutch is still good for the map, for the matchup. For the map, yeah. And with the teammate playing 9th US, so typically when you're playing 2v2, it's like one light div, one heavy div. You need a little bit of forward deployment between you, but not actually a lot. It used to be one airborne div, one heavy div, but airborne divs just aren't very good anymore. So 9th US is a good substitute because it's sort of like an airborne div, except better, for reasons we'll get to in the game. So yeah, between them, they've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 CVs on Death Row, which is quite high. But then you could say, well, Death Row, you get a lot of CV snipes, and you do. So maybe 11 makes sense. So yeah, 2 cards on one and 3 on the other, because on Death Row there's a lot of CV snipes. And in terms of how the rest of the decks sort of fit in with each other, so they've got 1 seed playing between them, decent amount of air, Eagles for ASFs, and then F-16As for anti-helo, I guess. In general, they seem to be more focused on the ground game. You'll notice that 9th US has brought the FOB, which in a 1v1 that would be a death sentence, but I think on Death Row makes a lot of sense, actually. FOB, MLRS, I think makes a lot of sense. 1 FOB for the team. They've got the drones and so on. So I think the team plays pretty good here. Just looking at it like tab by tab, so something like the T-chap, you can just get rid of that. That's not very good. In a 1v1, you kind of need it, right? But in this game, not so much. Question is, what else would he be packing if not the T-chap? This is very, well, yeah, we might as well cover this now. This is bad. This is like so for 55 points you get exceptional optics, but you don't get a Cobra gun. So it's not bad. And you'll note that this has more availability, so you don't want this one, you want this one anyway. And then the extra 2 points that word spent on the T-chap would go in here. So to be honest, you don't really need anything from here. So okay, T-chap it is, or you can like upvet your stingers or something and bring 8 stingers anyway, but they're upvetted. But yeah, T-chap can work. I would at least be upvetting it. You don't really need more than 3 in half of a death row map, but you can bring 5 if you want. But then you've got this as well, so and the eye hawks. So I think 3 is probably fine, but yeah, 5 is a bit safer. And then on the other side, you know, if you want more AA, then you could bring 2 cards of eye hawks. So do you need the Gepard? You can bring 2. Well, actually, you don't get 2 cards of eye hawks. Sorry. Wrong Dutch div. So there you go, my bad. So in terms of the divisions themselves, right? So, yeah, let's go through it tab by tab. So CV, whoops. CV card, yeah, that's fine. A wheeled CV, 3 availability. You can swap it out for this because it's tracked, so it's got more armor, so it can survive the counter battery, but then this can survive the counter battery by being fast and getting out of the way faster. So they've both got their advantages. Fob and then supply car. On a bigger map, you'd want a supply helo between you. You'd want some supply helos to carry to and from the fob. On death row, you can get away with using cars because the map's not that big to carry supplies to and from the fob. 6 infantry tow 2 teams on death row. You're probably expecting them to die, aren't you? Maybe it makes sense. I mean, he's already brought all the tanks, so... Whoa, that's weird. Typically, in a 1v1, people would bring this. In this as well. So, what is that? 2-point slot. Okay. Yeah, it can work with this, right? Typically, people would bring these because essentially they've got the same stealth and they're faster, but this would die in 1 hit, whereas this would die in 3 to 4 tank shots, whereas this can theoretically die in 1 tank shot. So actually having these can make more sense on this map. It's just they'll die easier to artillery, so I can see it both ways. 40mm, yeah, that's fine. Engineers flash, so a lot of people prefer Engineers regular. It is 29 Celsius in my room, so do forgive me if I drink a lot of water. I put some ice cubes in this about 5 minutes before I started. They're gone. Engineer flash can work. It's just you got to be careful with the micro because they've only got 5 men. They can work. I've played into it and it is kind of difficult to deal with, so that's fair enough, really. Not having the military police is really killer, so that is a bit weird. Engineers dragon, just get rid of that. There you go, military police. So military police with the military police vehicle. You put the vehicle next to your National Guard tanks, right? So you literally click the vehicle, Shift F, click on the tank, and it'll follow the tank around and give it military policeness, which removes the reservist trait. So it'll have 5% more accuracy, and you see that is actually reflected on the stat card now. See, 55, 60. So yeah, you'll get your 5% more accuracy and you won't take as much suppression. Now on a tank that has a lot of armor, you don't want to be taking a lot of suppression, so it makes sense to do so. Light rifles law, so this is the backbone of your army, just a lot of shooty power. So this is like 4 rifles, this is like 4 rifles, that's 8 plus 6 is 14, it's just really quite powerful. 14 shooty power in a 9-man squad. AT is not great, but you bring it in this grenade launcher Humvee, and that is like a substitute IFV because you don't get IFVs. Having 1 card in Blackhawks on a bigger map would make more sense, but it can still work on death row if you're going to try something aggressive at the start. I wouldn't have 2 Blackhawk squads though, I don't see the point in that, so I'd pick whichever one you want to get rid of. For a grenade launcher, more grenade launchers. Light rifle dragon or light rifle dragon. I like light rifle. Light rifle dragon or light life. I can't say it. Light rifle dragon. I like light rifle laws. Except they've got less shooty because they've got 3 machine guns, but a DMR is like 2 machine guns. So this is 6 plus 6 is 12, whereas this is 14 shooty power, but the AT is a lot better. They do cost more as a result, right? And you get one fewer of them per card. And then we've got, yeah, the MP Patrol, which I just put in there. Arty, so yes, mortars for smoke, and so this is actually not because it's reservist, that's just a bug. So I actually think that it being reservist doesn't lower the ROF anymore, because the aim time isn't lower anymore, whereas it used to be. So, yeah, I think this one's alright. You don't have a choice, really. Between them, yeah, you can get the one that has less range. If you want to smoke, typically you want more range. You'll note that this shoots faster, but typically you want the one with more range. Coffin launch is very, very useful, particularly on this map in a 2v2, because there's going to be lots of opportunities where you know where the enemy is and you can't get to him, and that's where you use this. It's like close-range artillery. Then Copperhead round, so corrected shot. Yes, this is the one you want. So with recon, you get very tight dispersion. You can snipe heavy tanks and stuff on this map, very useful. And this, yes, this needs to be in here. If you're playing 2v2 with this division on this map, death row is tiny. You want as much MLRS as you can get, which is what much. The M270HE is garbage. Don't bring that one. And the Lars isn't very good either. But if you can bring M270 clusters, or the Mars, right, they're very useful. So, yeah, this makes a lot of sense. I think this is a good idea. And that's the reason why, like 4th Dutch isn't as good as 3rd Armoured, because 3rd Armoured can bring the Mars, bring the M270, and 5th Panzer would be better because it can bring the Mars. So I think that 4th Dutch in such a narrow map isn't as good an idea, but it can still work. So that's it for the 9th US div. Looking at the 4th Dutch div, so 2 cards of supply because they've got the fob, so that's fair enough, really. You don't have a helo supply. In terms of CV options, so this is like that one, except faster for 15 points more. Is it worth it? I don't really think so, to tell you the truth. I'd be bringing this one like this, because this goes with your arty, right? I don't know why it's got like a Syrian flag on it. Oh, it's the Dutch flag. It's just very muddy. Interesting. Yeah, this is cheaper, and it just goes with your arty, right? And it doesn't have any more top armor. You don't really want these shooting. But basically, the advantage of this is that it's got smoke, so it actually is worth it. I'm sorry I said it wasn't worth it. It is definitely worth it because it's got smoke. But this is, on the front line you need smoke. If this is going to be sat next to your Eyehawk, or sat next to your artillery for the whole game, just moving around with your artillery, you don't need the smoke. So you can min-max by bringing this one. It's not a big deal, it's only 15 points, right? Yeah, so armored supply, which sadly doesn't have smoke on it, even though it's got smoke. I'm gonna have to write that down. What's it called? YPR 765 PRV smoke launchers. Present, but no smoke on supply vehicle. Because yeah, there are definitely smoke launchers on there. Interesting. Infantry, so NATO's at Nova just to pad it out. Yeah, I mean, I like to bring them in this because it's got smoke. And you... What the Okay, I like to bring it in this because it's got smoke, but you do need an infantry squad in a truck, which is why I saw these, right? Yeah, you've got some infantry squads in a truck, so you can do without. You could do with this and that, really, especially on such a narrow map. You want as much fire support as you can bring. But either way, right, I mean, how much use is this really going to be in a slugging match on death row? It does have smoke, right? So either one can work. Then, right, Panzer Inf... Basically, the price of this went down, which means that you can now buy... Like that, you can now buy 3 a minute, whereas before that was only for the Panzer Inf Law and the Panzer Inf Dragon. Now you can buy 3 in a minute on this one as well, which is a huge buff to the Dutch. Now, I don't understand why you've chosen to bring these in the trucks. You want them in the IFVs. The IFVs are absolutely killer. They're absolutely huge. Now, if you're on death row for 40 minutes, you might want to leave them down-vetted, but you can afford to, like, what if you just up-vet the first two out, and then you know that you've got your up-vetted ones, and then your down-vetted ones and whatnot. You gotta bring it in. The IFV is the good part. The infantry squad's nothing special. It's not bad, but anyway, genies. So satchel guys, yeah, you gotta bring them at one vet if you want them to be useful. You can bring them in this if you want, or you can bring them in the trucks to get them there as fast as possible to throw satchels at people. Either one can work, because it's like if your satchel squad goes up against an enemy satchel squad, well, this is going to win the fight because the satchel squad can't hurt it. And it's quite useful having smoke and everything. So it's up to you, right? If this one ends up in cars, maybe you could put this one in the M113, something like that. Then 2 cards of tow 2 down vetted. Okay, fine. You could bring this. There's no point really if you've only got 1 card of Natus. Arty, so this one is way better than this one, but this is 2 per card. But you don't need more than 2 heavy Arty pieces, so there you go. Problem solved. And then this is your mortar for smoke. Very useful. I prefer bringing it in the armored supply, the armored transport, so that it doesn't get taken out by counter battery, because you can load it back up into this, and then the top armor should save it. Doesn't always, but it's certainly a higher chance of surviving than it being in this thing, which is a truck with less than 1 armor. Which means it takes a multiplier of damage. The damage against it gets multiplied if it's got less than 1 armor, from what I remember. Tank tab, so YPR Pratt, very useful tow 2 launcher with smoke, 2 armor, a really good piece of kit this. Salvo length 2 as well, so it doesn't have to spend that long reloading. It fires 1, it hits, fires the second one, it hits, whatever. It's not broken arrow where the APS intercepts it. Leopard 1NL should be at 1 vet really, so that it can be useful. Units at no vet take well, you could even up-vet these guys and then down-vet these. It's probably a better idea. Units at no vet.
I like money.
Joey Rex subscribed to the channel.
Thank you, Joey. That was a bit scary. Units at no vet take 7 minutes to go from no cohesion up to full cohesion. Units at 1 vet take 3 minutes to go from no cohesion to full cohesion. Units at 2 vet take 2 minutes. So the jump from 1 to 2 isn't as important as the jump from 0 to 1. For the same reason, this should be at 1 vet. This should be at 1 vet. You can't afford to play without it, really, on these heavy tanks. Otherwise, they're just useless for most of the game. And then, yeah, the CV tank. You want this one out first because it's the best, right? But these are cheaper. This dies in 1 hit to a 30 AP missile from a plane. So every AT plane in the game, bar 2, fire 30 AP missiles, which would one-shot this, whereas this one would survive it. Same thing with the M1A one, it would survive it, because it's like this one. So that's why it could be better. So yeah, you got to be careful with the tanks in this division, because they can just die. Also, if you're on death row, it might be worth, yeah, getting rid of this and putting in some more tanks. I mean, sadly, the only place you can get them is CV tanks, but I think you'd rather have 2 more tanks than 3 more tow 2s on death row. And if you need more, your teammates got some, and you've got this. Recon, so yeah, recon helo, very normal. C and V for shooty. I'm getting the impression that I didn't actually finish that ninth US deck, because I don't remember looking at the helo tab. C and V for shooty, so the patch changes means you only have 1 card of this, because it was stupid at 2 cards, so I think that's a good change. For Kenner's AT in helos, I don't really see you being able to use these helos on death row, but I assume this is just a holdover from like on a bigger map or something where they can be useful. And then KCT Vinegars, they've got airborne forward deployment, 100 kilometers an hour truck, ground surveillance radar, special forces at 6 availability, at 2 vet with ground surveillance radar and AT. So they're very good at just holding a bit of ground at the start of the game, which is what you want. AA, Eyehawk, Cheetah, Stingers, very normal, and then Air Tab. So close range fighters, cluster plane, HE plane, rocket plane. This one reloads in 2 minutes, so it can be quite good. But this one reloads in 1 minute. This one reloads in 2 minutes, so it's cluster. They did actually fix that. Last patch, this was called HE, even though it was dropping cluster. It was pretty funny. So yeah, that's that. Going back to that ninth US deck. Did I could have sworn I didn't speak about the healers, right? So basically, your teammate doesn't have any ATGM healers, so you got to be careful with these because these are the only two ATGM healers you've got across both decks. And then yeah, this is all fine. So hey, this reloads. Oh no, this isn't fine. This is terrible. This one reloads in 3 minutes, and this one reloads in 6 minutes. So you want this because it reloads in 4 minutes. And if you need to kill infantry, whatever, just bring something else. Typically, it's going to be about the tanks on death row anyway. So you want the cluster 2 because it reloads in 4 minutes. Literally a 6-minute reload for a very weak payload. Because the bombs are really small, which means they don't do anything, even though there's lots of them. Yeah, we spoke about this. Like, the Hog is for anti-infantry, the Tow Cobra's for anti-vehicle, because this literally has 76 rockets. And this has 14. Yeah, because I got to the T-chap and then I just kind of gave up, right? So, yeah, this it's sensible, more or less. Not having the Tow 2 is a bit sad, but yeah, it would die in one hit, whereas these guys will live longer, and we just took the Tow 2 out of your teammate's deck, so it kind of makes sense to keep it. Drone, very useful. The fault is really bad. The Humvee is in the wrong transport. This is another thing. I was like, what about that sniper team? I said the Humvee's in the wrong transport. The sniper's in the wrong transport. It needs to be in this because it goes at 120 kilometers an hour, whereas this goes at 100. So it's way more useful. It's only 5 points more. This will get there faster than anybody else in the game. Except Delta Force, because theirs is Special Forces, and at max vet it will actually go faster. Fault is terrible. Never, ever, ever bring Fault. It's 2 guys. You don't need that. If you want ground surveillance radar, use the KCT Vinegars on the other team. If you want more recon, which you probably do, just bring some scouts and the grenade launcher Humvee, right? Then you've got the Tow 2, recon forward deployed, very good optics, and that's why you don't really need this as well. The Cook V is incredible. You've always got to bring that. And then, yeah, we spoke about the helo. It's weird, I just didn't speak about the sniper. It's very important that this comes in this transport. If there's one thing you learn from this deck review, it's that the American sniper in 9th US needs to come in this transport. You get to places super duper fast, and it like, because it says recon deployed, but it's airborne deployed because it's done off the unit, not the transport. So I hope you learned something. Sorry for being a bit all over the place. I'm dying of heat stroke or something. It's 29 Celsius in my room. So I'll see you in the map, the matchup, the deployments, and the game. And as always, timestamps in the description. Right, so with that out of the way, let's talk a bit about the map, the matchup, the deployments, and the game. And as always, timestamps in the description. Death Row, I already spoke about it. It's basically a narrow 1v1 map, but people do play it as 2v2 because the game says it should be played as 2v2. This was the first map ever added to the game, by the way. The game launched with 2 maps, this and 2 ways. Both have changed a bit. Basically, there's less forest now on. Yeah, on there used to be like more forest up to here. This all used to be forested. Forest here, forest here. This forest was like, this was just a road in a forest, and the forest went all the way up to there. I think this part was always free. I don't think there was a forest there. And this all used to be one big zone. Then they made it 2 separate zones. So yeah, very exciting. In terms of the matchup, typically you have 1 heavy div, 1 light div. Tends to be the way to do things. On Death Row, you can just do 2 heavy divs, because there's no mobility, so you don't need a light div. So 4th Dutch and 9th US can work, but there are better picks on NATO. Abrams are preferable for a map like this. You want Abrams. So like 3rd Armoured would be perfect for this map, especially with the M270 as we spoke about in the deck review. 9th US can work. It's just, you'd want something like 1st UK or just, or even 4th Dutch, right, or 8th US. Typically, you'd want something a bit heavier. 2 heavy divs on this map works just fine. Don't really need a light div because there's nowhere to go really. You can sure you can send things all the way through the forest, but people tend not to do it because it takes ages to get there. But it's always worth sending one unit when you're on this map all the way around, try and annoy them. If you feel very intelligent, you can send an AA with it as well. So when they use a helicopter to kill it, you kill with the helicopter. Bobass and Leyak are playing 7th Panzer and 76Y, so it's like a medium div and a light div. I don't really think that's a good combination. Certainly worse than their opponent's combination. In terms of the map is blue side favoured. The blue side over here, they have the better side because these zones, basically at the start, blue gets to like here. So blue gets a really nice foothold in Echo, and they get like the vast majority of Alpha. Red gets these buildings, which are useful, and this house. You can't get to here; it's too exposed. And if once you do get there, they know you're in there, so they just RT you, and there's nowhere to hide really. So yeah, it's not great for Red really. So worst picks, worst side. Let's have a look at the deployment. So they've opened with 2 artillery pieces, and they're just moving them on the road. And that's from Bobass, is it? Okay. So Leyak seems like he sort of knows what's going on. You know, go down the road and do stuff. Airborne forward deployed. You should be, you know, trying to rush over to here and grab this. Basically, if you're on the red side, the way you win is you take Echo, and you can try and rush Charlie at the start. But typically, what you do is you take Echo, and then it's even on the ticks. And then once you take Echo, you try and get these buildings and this, and then you just shoot people in the side, and then it becomes a lot easier to take Alpha when, you know, you've got fire control over like half of this forest. Then you push Alpha from this way once you've got this sorted, because they can't reinforce it through here, and, you know, even this road is threatened. So you get all this, and then you can go from here to there, while, you know, try to pressure them here, so that you take this, should be sorted. Yeah, that's how it's done. So the way I play it in 1v1 is I do that while rushing Charlie, so I get this, so I like to play it like that, and I try and keep a unit in here, but usually they end up taking this, which is a big problem. You need to make sure if you're red that you hold this, and you want to hold this as well. So I try and play it like that, basically. So yeah, deployments, we've got 4 CVs, some good teamwork going on here. So 2 forward deployed CVs, this one's going to Delta and then just stopping instead of going into, you know, up to Alpha or into Echo, and then 1 for Foxtrot. Typically, if you're red, you need 1 CV at the start, because you take Delta, Foxtrot, Echo, and then, because you're not really getting into Alpha. So they've got a cheeky 4 times more CVs than they need. They've opened Arty, which is the dumbest thing ever, because you don't have any targets for the first minute, because everybody's moving into position, you can't see anything. And even if you do see them, they're on the road, they're moving, so there's nothing to artillery, so this is just a waste of 420 points. He's got 2 recon helos, which he's put right on top of each other, so they can both get shot by the same thing. 3 T-55s just starting in the forest. 3 Zickerungs, 4 Zickerungs, which haven't been pathed. 1 CV, which has been pathed, 1 that hasn't, some supply, and 2 rocket helos, and a recon. And he doesn't seem to understand that you can move things on the road to make them go faster. So, I mean, there was a sale recently. There is a sale on... No, it ended 2 days ago as of recording. 1 day ago as of recording. Ended on the 10th. Members get the videos early. And this is the 11th. Yeah, so clearly quite a new player. Switching to their opponent's deployment, we've got a much more normal way of doing things. So, Debilla and Noel. Debilla is going for the left. And Noel is going for the right. So that's all good. Typically, you wouldn't actually put that many units here unless you're intending to rush Foxtrot. And you'd put most of your effort into this on Echo. But then, you know, if somebody does rush Foxtrot, which he's not actually doing, I don't understand where all of Layak's points are. Like, where's all his stuff? It's not actually that much here. Is he opening planes or something? Or, like, I would think this is on reduced income, but look at all this. It can't be. If they've got that many units there, it must be normal income. Unless it really is 0.75 and 1,000 starting or something. I don't know, it doesn't look like it. It's just Red has probably bought a bunch of planes. Or not spent all his income. So that's Layak most likely. So Dabilla opening heavy into Charlie, expecting a rush, I guess, from the forward deployed guy. Which makes sense. So engineers, grenade launcher, 2 stingers for the buildings. Engineers dragon. Spoke about that in the deck review. I don't think that's a good idea, really. Tow 2, this is a nice building to be in, really. I like to put them here so they can shoot down here and down here. 2 VADs for anti-infantry. He is selling the transport, so he will struggle to move those. Sniper going to the aforementioned spot in the wrong transport. KCT Vinegars going, so this is actually from Noel. Going to Echo. 2 Cook V ATGM launchers. 1 here, that's a good spot for it, and 1 here. Typically, you'd want that there, right? Because you can't actually shoot anything from here. What? Unless he wants it to stop here, and he's turned it onto nothing, so it would actually be able to shoot down there. But you want it in the forest, really, to take advantage of the stealth. Then for mid, we've got another sniper, so that's going to the same building. 3 KCT Vinegars. There's always going to be some overlap because the map is it's small for a 1v1 map, so for it to be on 2v2 is tiny. And then the KCT Vinegars, 1 to here, 1 to here. That's not actually classed as cover to my knowledge. I mean, we'll find out, I guess. You can't check when you're a spectator. And this one, which isn't actually unloading. Behind that, so yeah, Dabilla could have done with buying a CV, because there's only 1 CV here. He could have done with buying a CV for Charlie and then sending it into Echo. So there's only 1 CV here. So these guys, basically, because I said on the red side you'd only open with 1 CV, because it's Delta Foxtrot Echo. Whereas on the blue side you can get into Echo and Alpha at the start, so you might as well buy 2. Send 1 down to Charlie Echo and send 1 to Bravo Alpha. Yeah, so 2 supply vehicles. Engineers Flash, so that's from the 9th US player, that's from Dabilla. 2 Panzer Infantry in cars. The enemy should get to this first, but the enemy is Stinger Team, 2 Engineers Dragon, going to the same building, I think. So that's also from the 9th US player. Tow 2. That's from the Dutch player, but 9th US gets Tow 2As in his deck, and I think they can get regular Tow 2s, but he's picked the Tow 2A. VADs, Francie Infantry, Eyehawk should be coming back here, yes, and then 1 of the supply should be going to that, really. There's no point just leaving it in here. 2 Genies, so Satchel Throwers. 2 ATGM launching Pratts. A Cook V from the 9th US player. I'm not sure where that one's going, actually. It's just stopping here. Okay. 3 IFVs. So yeah, in the deck review, we spoke about how strange it was that these Panzer Infantry all came in trucks instead of in IFVs. 2 Leopard 1s, an M60, and a CV. So yeah, let's cast the game. We should do so from this perspective. Right, so they're off, and it's time for me to thank the generous channel joiners, generously joining the channel. They get their names on the screen, they get the videos early, they get members exclusive videos. 1 join at the lowest level is worth 2,000 views, so if you're feeling bad about your ad block, it's a great way to support the channel. At the highest tier, you get your games cast at a rate of 1 per calendar month, so if you're feeling bad about your ad block, I already said that. So if you want to improve, it's a great way to improve, to be publicly humiliated by in front of 2,000 people. So, got Layak here opening 3 planes, which is, quite frankly, very silly, because he can't see anything to shoot at it, as you can see. He's also bought the EW plane, which I don't really think is a good idea, and he's put 2 Conkers in the same building, and he's got forward deployed, and he's unloaded all his guys less than halfway, when he should be uploading them all, you know, pretty aggressively, because they're forward deployed. I'm really not convinced that is a tree, given that they're not even standing under it, right? It is a tree, clearly, but it's not classed as cover. So they're exposed there, I believe. VADs begin to engage these AT planes. This isn't SEED, this is just EW, so it lowers the accuracy, but it doesn't do anything. As in, you know, doesn't fire a missile at it or anything. So, yeah, as you can see, the accuracy has been lowered there. Eventually, it is just going to die. So there you go, AT plane starts strafing the IHawk and does actually get it. And the other AT plane is trying to shoot the VADs. Basically, the EW lights up the enemy radar AA as a SEED would, but then it doesn't fire a missile right. So blue preparing with a good amount of AA, and this just isn't doing a whole lot. So that was a massive waste of a deployment. I mean, he got the IHawk, which is pretty big actually, because they've only got 3 IHawks between them. And here we go. So after 2 minutes, blue finally bothered to buy an AA. Basically, after the first minute, they should have bought a fighter. Started taking all that out. Here we go. So rocket helos just flying into the enemy and dying. They've got some really nice VFX on them now, which I'm pretty sure didn't used to be there, you know. It definitely does look better than it used to. It looks like the Eagle managed to get out, and the other planes are just evacing over those VADs. So this VADs has actually almost run out of ammo from the amount it's been shooting. And so what does he do? He buys another plane. So they know about all of these AA positions because they're just shooting and none of them are moving after they've fired. So that's what this artillery is for. But 3 minutes into the game, it hasn't fired yet. He's finally got up to the front line. I guess he doesn't actually understand that he can fast move his guys. So this is definitely a low elo Legends game. So now he's firing smoke at this at his helicopter, his dead helicopter here, if that's indeed what it was. No, I think the helos are here. So he's just firing smoke at the enemy now. I suppose to help with the attack, right? But not really, because he's firing all the smoke in one place. He's just fast moving across the map here. Yeah, but don't worry, these 2 engineers Dragon, they can't shoot. So Su-24 does get a decent bombing run off there. I mean, there was only sadly 1 unit there, and that'll be reloading for 4 minutes. He's bought a half grad, which he's not firing. Blues still haven't bothered to capture the zone, and they're making up for it now by buying 2. 1 for here and 1 for here. Well, you just use this one, and you just drive it up to here, wait for it to cap, and then drive it in here. You don't need 2. So the T-50, this is going about as well as you might imagine. Just sort of driving over the open towards the enemy. Yeah, this still hasn't fired. No, it has. My apologies. Of course, it fired the smoke. They fired the smoke rounds, and now he's repositioning after firing, so that's intelligent. Just pushing in without... I suppose he does have recon here. Su-24M, but yeah, there's even more AA than there was last time. So the IHawk is here now, and he was selling his transport, but then he heard Hippie's voice in his head saying, "Hey, don't sell your transport, move your AA after shooting." And that applies to all the other AA as well. It should all be moving after it's fired. You know, this could be unloaded here and then begin moving down here. They'd see there isn't that much there. The MiG-31 has a huge range advantage over the Eagle, although the Sparrows do have a longer range now than they did in the last patch. These are 12k, which are unmatched. But at close ranges, the Eagle should win. The thing is, he evac'd it, whereas he should have just kept going. Because once you get past that initial range gap, the Eagle is stronger. So it's got more missiles, well, that's about it, really. So, Red's winning, but that's mainly because Blue just refused to drive this CV into this zone. They've got all these guys here, you know, they could... coming up this road can be deadly, because if Red had a tank here, they would shoot it. So what you have to do is come up here, get in there. And you do have to worry about artillery, but there you go, some more smoke coming out. Napalm Su-22, so that's the bad one. And here we go, Copperhead rounds out from 9th US. Meow. So, he's aiming for the wrong place. I guess there used to be a guy in there or something. See, this is where the house is. To know where to fire, because like, if you look at this, where do you aim how, because you don't know he's there if you can't see him, right? So you don't, is he in this house? Is he in this house? What you do is you press C, get your LOS tool, and then just snap it to the building. And when it snaps to the building, where it centers is where the enemy is. So that's a very... I did do a guide on this, but, you know, I release a lot of videos, so there you go. And then where is it for this one? Oh, it's that house. So, oh, where is he here? He's in this one. So this guy, Layak, he's put his guy in the perfect position to be able to see as little as possible, because this is actually blocked by this water tower here. I think that's a water tower. Might be a grain silo or something. So he needs to be in this house, really. Here we go. Blue's finally capped the zone. Now he's sending the sniper team forwards. They do have better stealth. It's just, if you lose that, it's a lot sadder. So surely you'd want to send the Vinegars. Bit tankier. A lot... Well, actually, are they cheaper? 65... No, they're not. Okay. They're more available. In the meantime, Dabilla's unloaded a T-Chap here and sold the vehicle. And Noel's unloaded an IHawk here and sold the vehicle. So if this guy's a bit more clued in, he could shoot. Here we go. The Kafgrad's finally fired about 5 minutes after it was purchased. And picks up a supply vehicle there. So yeah, Red does have... PACT has the advantage on this map because of the MLRS. So in a 1v1 you can't really tell, but in a big team game it's important. That sniper should have had return fire on. Instead it tried to engage the Spetsnaz GRU, I think, and then the grenade launcher killed it. Or it might have tried to engage the grenade launcher. Either way, grenade launcher won. The MI2 going down there. Stinger's quite pressed up here. You never really want to put so many guys in one house unless you're fighting like a pitched infantry battle and you want to kill them really quick and then you move. Here we go. So this is going to be smoke, is it? Okay, so he's smoking over there, but this is actually out of the smoke anyway. It makes sense, right? But so you'd have to smoke this as well, really. But he's got the right idea, trying to obscure the enemy tanks that can't shoot you, but it can move, so you do need stuff like this, you know. These were landed and almost got taken out. Oh, and as they stand up, Noel Stinger tags one. Those new VFX effects are very, very cool on the wounded helos. They're like smoking now. I could have sworn they never used to do that. I'm pretty sure that's new. I've seen it a lot since the patch, so maybe I just wasn't paying attention before. So, what was purchased? Yeah, I think if you're blue, you want to sort of close this one out. So yeah, what you do is you get up to here, Leopard 284, perfect choice, bit of AA and a bit of recon, and you park the Leopard in such a way that you can shoot down here. Which I guess he's just shooting, so the reason the tank can shoot the helicopter is because it's on the ground. And, yeah, so you would park the guys in here, and it would be able to shoot down this road, which makes it very hard for them to reinforce. Then you get your infantry, and you just run them here to there. Infantry taking a few half-grad rounds there. Here we go, RM70s will do a bit more. So that's how it's done. Seems content to take it slow. I mean, they are on a +4, so do they really have to do much of anything? But yeah, this is where PACT comes into its own, really. You can just rocket arty the hell out of everybody, and eventually you'll hit the CVs, because there's just isn't much place to hide. There aren't many places to hide. There isn't much space to hide. But yeah, he aimed it sort of the wrong area there. He put it right on the edge, so a lot of these rounds were just misses, because there's obviously nobody here, so you want it further in. So all the auto cannons going down there to the T-55 conga line. Layak's bought another plane. He's going for the AA, and then the IHawk got a crit and one-shot him. Don't know if you read that. It said air Leon damage. Typically if you're using the EW plane you'd want it closer, but look, I mean, it just doesn't do anything. So yeah, just way too small a map for this kind of air spam. As you can see, all the planes have died except that one. He narrowly avoids bombing himself there. So Cubs have been spotted now, so the AA the arty on the enemy team should immediately start going on the cubs, right? The villa's arty should start going on those cub positions. They've fired twice now and they're still not moving it, so he's not doing anything. And yeah, Eagle now circling for the next plane wave, which is very intelligent. These now have 240 seconds autonomy, up from 140 in the last patch. That's a nice buff to NATO air. Makes PACT to air not as ridiculously better. For 1v1 it doesn't matter because you play by division, but for team it's terrible. So Recon Helo goes down, and we got some Mi-24Ps here. That 10% ECM, they should be focusing the Stinger. No, they've decided to bail out without killing it. Eagle comes in and hits one, and the Cubs are out of ammo. There is ammo coming. It's not going to the Cubs. So, I'm expected to see these engaging the arty. No, there was apparently somebody here. Guess he must have got him. I mean, everything is on fire. Not seeing anybody. I was wondering what that white kind of line there is. It's the corrected fire on the... Basically, the way these work, if you're wondering, is that when there's a recon unit, it draws this white circle around it. The reason it looks so weird is because we're seeing both sides circles. Which isn't how it works, right? But because we're a spectator. And if you shoot at something within that circle, unless the enemy has a jammer, which is another trait that you find on certain helicopters and whatnot.
I like money.
Shoe Bandit Gaming subscribed to the channel.
Thank you for subscribing to the channel, Shoe Bandit Gaming. Then you get a very narrow dispersion circle, which makes it possible to like snipe heavy tanks and stuff because you don't miss. The issue is they can move, and then you won't hit them because the dispersion circle's so tight. So there you go, another plane just wasted. And now we've got some RM70s firing again.
Hello, I like money.
Adam King subscribed to the channel.
Thank you for subscribing to the channel, Adam. So the F-16s are back. I suppose it was 16 last time. And he picks up that next helicopter. The CV that was here died. The CV that was here died. There was like another one there. Looks like the surrenders are coming in from red now. Yeah, I mean this was like what do they call it? Coughing baby versus hydrogen bomb matchup. I really want to see how many games these red players have had. Particularly the guy. Whoa! SPG-9 almost taking out the Leopard 2A4 there. Getting the ammo explosion. They've definitely added some more VFX to injured vehicles, man. Did you see how that was still smoking and stuff? They definitely added some more VFX. So yeah, mortars coming in, but the army's mobile. We spoke about this in the deck review. This man should have a military police vehicle with this. I was gonna say, wow, that survived, but it didn't. They're not moving these, so the PACT overwhelming artillery could take them out, but they're not doing that. And looks like the other guy really wants to stick around, even though his teammate surrendered. So, alright, let's see what he's got cooked up. So sadly, I say sadly, in this case it's probably a good thing. The AI takes over, rather than giving you the units, and there's no option to give you the units and the income and whatnot. It's just the AI takes over, and the AI is usually worse than whoever your teammate was, but I think in this case it's actually better, so I guess that's all good. And there goes the CV, right? You Cellinis have two RPGs, two different RPGs. They've got the same range though, so they engage at the same time. But yeah, they're not as good as 4 M60s, even if they are reservist. So you see 2 machine guns on each of these. The Abrams has 3, but 2's plenty. So coax and then this one. So, still sticking around. yeah, now that's all that's left is for Debilla and Noel to take Foxtrot. So yeah, he's getting a bit impatient. He's charging his Razvedka BMD3s forwards. These are typically best used on the defense. There it goes. And yeah, he's still trying to hit him with those Nonas, but the tanks are going forward, so he can't do it. Looks like he's got auto sell-off, so there's a lot of points up for grabs here, which he just hasn't bothered to claim. I didn't even notice that. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140, 180. Those are the self-propelled ones. So 180 points just showing out there. But here we go. Bobas has finally started buying some T-72s, which is the whole point of his division. Sadly, it took the AI to do it. But everybody's got to start somewhere. And, you know, we do try and help people on the Hippie YouTube channel. You know, I do get some top players who are like, why isn't every game massively pro versus massively pro? And it's because most of the player base plays like this. So, you know, if you're blue in this situation, you really want to be smoking and backing, because as you can see, he's not hitting anything. Instead, he's letting the BRM-1Ks kill his M60s. So yeah, you need that military police vehicle. We spoke about this in the deck review. I put it into the deck. Get rid of some of those TOW2s maybe, or a bit of that infantry, I suppose. Leopard 2A4, fast-pathed. BMD3 might chew it up. Wow! So there you go, that's the power of the autocannon at close range. Kills a tank in one salvo. Kills a Leopard 2 in one salvo, because it was literally right next to it. You see this is kinetic, so the closer it gets, the higher the pen goes. It does have a maximum, but the maximum is still clearly high enough to kill a 6-side armor vehicle from 10 HP in one volley. So yeah, not to be sniffed at, these autocannons in the right hands. You see, so this has got more pen, but this has the same side armor. It wasn't as close though, so you see that they are actually trying to engage it. Not as effective in that case. Missing a lot. So 4 HP squads landing in front of the T-72. I mean, just use the RT, man. Got the RT, he's not moved. He's been in the same place for quite some time. But yeah, blue just cleaning the board here. So I'll speed it up a bit, because it's literally a 1v2. And yeah, Vikenna's AT landing behind the T-72, getting him as he reverses. The medium AI there, clearly no match for the coughing baby or whatever. And more infantry's coming in. The AI is trying to stop this. Not really sure what Layak is doing. I think he might have just gone AFK. I do see that happen from time to time. Where it's like... Yeah, because these are all Bobas units, which means they're all from the AI. I just want to see how many games these guys have. So... T-72 fast-pathing next to the enemy. That was exciting. Side shot there. Right, some CVs coming in. I'll be honest, I think Debilla could have done a much better job in taking this. There were only 2 Conkers here or something. And there you go. There's the W. So, definitely a game of Warno. Definitely a Warno game. And it looks like the hydrogen bomb... Come on, really? I waited around for this. Wow. Something with the patch coming out might have broken something. So we don't even get to see how many games they played, so I'm sorry for wasting your time with that. I wanted to see how many games they played, but I guess we'll never know. So yeah, very exciting gameplay. Hopefully you've learnt a lot. And I'll see you in the next one. GG.